Hi, this is Brad, and welcome to Brad English Podcast, your daily English listening podcast helping you speak English naturally. In February 2026, a research team at a language learning institute in Amsterdam, Netherlands, analyzed 100 hours of recorded natural English conversation, covering speakers from the United Kingdom, the United States, Canada, and Australia across a range of everyday contexts: home, work, commute, social gatherings, and phone calls. Their goal was to identify the 300 sentences that came up most frequently across all of those contexts. The result was a list that no standard English curriculum has ever contained, but that is, according to the research, the closest thing to a complete map of everyday English conversation that currently exists. Hello and welcome to your English podcast. Today I am going to walk you through those 300 sentences, organized by the time of day and the context in which they appear most naturally. By the end of this episode, you will have encountered every sentence on that list, heard it in a natural context, understood its meaning and its social function, and had the opportunity to absorb it as living, breathing conversational English. This is not a vocabulary list. This is a conversation. Let us have it together, starting with the very first words of the morning. The first 100 sentences of the Amsterdam research list come from the morning home context, and they cluster into 5 recognizable subgroups: waking and the first moments of consciousness, the bathroom and getting ready, breakfast and the kitchen, the social interaction of a shared morning with family or housemates, and the preparation for leaving. The waking sentences include the obvious ones that everyone knows. What time is it? And I am so tired, and I need coffee. But they also include sentences that reveal the specific rhythms of English-speaking mornings that learners rarely encounter. I had the strangest dream, and I cannot believe it is Monday again. And did you set the alarm for 6:30? And I think I overslept. The word overslept means to have slept longer than you intended, missing your planned waking time. The bathroom routine in English conversation is rich with the specific language of self-care, cleanliness, and the small negotiations of shared domestic spaces. Has anyone seen my razor? And we are almost out of shampoo. Can you add it to the list? And the hot water is taking ages today. And could you give me 5 minutes in there? These sentences use the extremely common English structure of the domestic request, which combines a question form with a domestic object or action and a specific time reference. The phrase taking ages is a British English informal expression, meaning taking a very long time. Knowing informal expressions like this makes your English sound lived in rather than learned. The breakfast and kitchen conversations in the research list include sentences that English speakers produce every morning without thinking about them. What do you want for breakfast? And I will just have something quick. And is there any milk left? And I made enough coffee for both of us. And I cannot find the jar opener. Where did you put it? And I think the bread might have gone off, where gone off means spoiled or no longer fresh. These sentences use object vocabulary, quantity language, spatial questions, and food quality descriptions, all in a completely natural and effortless flow. The sentences of leaving the house, which close the first hour of the Amsterdam research list's morning section, involve time pressure, reminder language, and the specific English of imminent departure. I am going to be late, and has anyone seen my keys? And I will be home around 7. And do not forget you have a dentist appointment at 4. And text me when you get there. And have a good day, and love you, and see you tonight. These departure sentences are among the most emotionally loaded in all of everyday English, because they are the last words spoken before people leave the safety of the home and enter the separate worlds of their individual days. The commute sentences in the Amsterdam research reflect the 2 dominant commute types: public transport and driving. On public transport in cities like London, Dublin, Sydney, and Toronto, the sentences of the commute are partly addressed to other people and partly to oneself, To others, "Is this seat taken? Could you move your bag, please? Excuse me, do you know if this is the right bus for the city center?" And, "I think you dropped something." To oneself, in internal monologue. "I hope I am not late, and I forgot to reply to that message. And only 12 minutes now, and I should have left earlier." These self-addressed sentences are highly useful for learners because they are simple, honest, and anchored to a specific real-time experience. The sentences of arrival at work or school begin with the social ritual of greeting colleagues or classmates, which in English-speaking contexts is a highly specific and culturally regulated interaction. Morning is sufficient between close colleagues. "Good morning, how are you?" requires a brief, honest response rather than just "fine, thanks," which is now considered slightly cold in many English professional settings. Hectic, which means extremely busy and slightly chaotic, is a very common single-word response. Not bad, actually, where actually signals slight surprise at one's own positivity, is also common. Getting there, which means gradually improving or progressing toward a goal, is used by people who are okay but not excellent, 100 sentences from morning to arrival. But the most densely packed English of the entire day comes in the middle hours. When work is at full intensity, social interactions are at their peak, and the conversational demands are most varied and most unpredictable. Part 2 is Midday English, and it contains the sentences that most directly affect your professional relationships and your social connections. Stay with me. The 101 to 150 sentences on the Amsterdam Research List all come from the workplace or academic context, and they reflect the specific conversational demands of people trying to get things done together in English. The most frequent sentence type in this section is the task coordination sentence, which is the kind of English used when people are collaborating on work and need to synchronize their efforts. "I am working on it now, and I should have it finished by the end of the day." And, "Could you send me the latest version of the document?" And, "I just need 20 minutes to finish this, and then I can focus on the other thing," are all task coordination sentences. They use a consistent grammar of present continuous for current actions and modal structures for future estimates. The question sentences in this section are particularly important because professional English is heavily question-based. It is a culture that values asking rather than assuming, clarifying rather than guessing, and checking rather than proceeding without confirmation. "Have you had a chance to look at the report I sent? And is this urgent, or can it wait until tomorrow? And what is the deadline for this? And, do you need me to do anything before the meeting?" are all questions that demonstrate engagement, initiative, and professional responsibility. The feedback-giving and feedback-receiving sentences in professional English are among the most nuanced in the entire day because they involve navigating the complicated social territory of quality assessment and personal response. Giving feedback. This is really good work, and I think it would be even stronger if we tightened the opening section. Receiving feedback. "Thank you, that is really useful. I will revise it and send you the updated version by end of day." These exchanges are built from specific structures: the compliment before criticism structure for giving feedback, and the thank you plus action structure for receiving it. The email-related sentences that come up most frequently in spoken professional conversation are worth a specific mention. "Did you see the email I sent you this morning?" And, "I will send you the details in an email after this." And, "There should be an email from me in your inbox with the attachment, and I have been copied on that email so I am up to speed," are all sentences that professional English speakers use multiple times every working day. The phrase "up to speed" means fully informed and current on the relevant information. The sentences numbered 151 to 200 in the Amsterdam Research List come from the social English of the lunch period, and they are distinctive in a specific way. They are the sentences where personal life enters professional space. The lunch break is the context where colleagues become slightly more than colleagues, and where the conversational language shifts from task-focused to experience-focused. What are you having for lunch? And I found this amazing Italian place around the corner. You should try it. And are you going out or eating at your desk today? Are the opening sentences of lunch social English. The small talk sentences of the break period are precisely the sentences that learners report finding most difficult, because small talk requires spontaneity, cultural knowledge, and the ability to move between topics naturally. The most useful small talk topics in English-speaking professional environments, confirmed by the Amsterdam research and consistent with studies of workplace conversation globally, are the weekend, travel, food and restaurants, television and films, sport, local events, and personal plans. The sentences for all of these topics follow a consistent pattern. Did you do anything nice at the weekend? And have you seen the new series on Netflix? And I went to that new French restaurant on Saturday. It was brilliant. 200 sentences, morning and midday. But the most emotionally rich English of all comes in the evening, when the professional masks come off and people speak to each other as the full human beings they actually are. Part 3 is Evening English, and it contains the most personally important sentences on the entire research list, including the one that the Amsterdam research team identified as the single most frequently spoken sentence in all 100 hours of recorded English conversation. That sentence is coming. The 201st to 250 sentences in the Amsterdam research list cover the coming home and early evening period, and they have a quality that is distinct from all other sections of the day. They are the sentences of reconnection. When people come home to people they love, the English they use is warm, abbreviated, emotionally immediate, and full of the specific shorthand of intimate relationships. How was your day? Is the entry point, and the answer is almost never simply fine. It is long, or actually not bad, or do not ask, or I am absolutely exhausted but good, where the conjunction but holds together the tiredness and the satisfaction in a way that is both grammatically simple and emotionally complex. The sentences of the coming home hour also include the rituals of domestic transition. What do you want to do about dinner? And I am just going to have a shower, and then I will feel more human. And did anything arrive in the post today? And did you remember to call your mother? These sentences are the glue of shared domestic life, the small functional exchanges that make a household run, and that, in aggregate, constitute a very large portion of the actual English that native speakers produce every day. Reconnecting with friends in the evening produces a slightly different but equally important set of sentences, particularly in the era of digital communication where evening friend conversations happen as often over text or voice message as in person. I was just thinking about you, actually, and how did the interview go? And I cannot believe they said that. And you are not going to believe what happened to me today are all sentences that open or continue evening friend conversations in English. The phrase, "You are not going to believe what happened," is one of the most powerful conversation openers in English. It creates immediate curiosity and signals that something significant or surprising is coming. The evening meal generates its own English. This is delicious. What did you put in it? And I am not really that hungry. I had a big lunch, and could you pass the salt? And do you want the last piece? And I made extra, so there are leftovers for tomorrow, are all sentences from the dinner table section of the Amsterdam research. They are simple, warm, domestic, and thoroughly human. A man named James Callahan, who is 31 years old and lives in Dublin, Ireland, was one of the research participants in the Amsterdam study. He described the experience of seeing his own daily language cataloged this way. I had no idea how many times a day I said "I know." Those two words. Probably 50 times. More than anything else. It is such a small thing and it does everything. The final 50 sentences of the Amsterdam research list. numbered 251 to 300, come from the wind-down period of the evening, and they have a reflective, quieter quality that distinguishes them from all other sentences in the list. These are the sentences people say when the day is almost done and the self-assessment begins. I feel like I got a lot done today, and I could have handled that better. And I am not sure I made the right decision about that thing this morning, and I think it is going to work out, are all sentences of self-reflection. And they use modal structures, could have, am not sure, think it is going to, that are characteristic of measured, thoughtful English. The conversation with a partner or close family member before sleep produces some of the most intimate and emotionally significant English sentences in the entire research list. I am really glad we talked about that. And I have been thinking about what you said, and I think you were right. And I do not say it enough, but I really appreciate everything you do. And I am worried about something, and I am not sure how to talk about it yet, are sentences that require not just vocabulary, but emotional courage and genuine self-awareness. The Amsterdam research team revealed at the conclusion of their study that they had identified one sentence as the single most frequently spoken English sentence across all 100 hours of recorded conversation, across every context and every time of day. It appeared more often than "thank you," more often than "I am sorry," more often than "how are you." It appeared at breakfast tables in London, in offices in Sydney, at lunch in Toronto, during commutes in Dublin, in arguments, in conversations of tenderness and frustration and joy. The sentence was this: I know. 2 words, simple, flexible, universal, expressing understanding, agreement, frustration, sympathy, acceptance, and a dozen other human responses depending on tone, context, and the conversation around it. James Callahan in Dublin, when he heard which sentence had topped the list, laughed. "Of course it is," he said. "Of course. Know your language from its simplest truth outward. That is how fluency is built. 2 words. I know. Say them in English. Let everything else grow from there. 300 sentences. Morning to night. From the first, 'What time is it?' to the last, 'I know,' spoken quietly in the dark. You have heard the full arc of a conversational day in English, the domestic warmth of morning, the professional precision of midday, the social warmth of lunch, and the reflective intimacy of evening. Every one of these 300 sentences was chosen because it appears in real conversation, spoken by real people in the real contexts of real English-speaking lives across the United Kingdom, Ireland, Canada, and Australia. The Amsterdam research team found that learners who were familiar with these 300 sentences could navigate 90% of everyday English conversations without encountering a moment of complete communicative breakdown. Not perfectly, not without gaps, but well enough. Well enough to connect, to communicate, to be understood, and to understand in return. That is the goal of all of this. Not perfection, connection. Keep listening to this podcast and keep adding to your 300. The conversation you are capable of is bigger than you currently know. I will see you in the next episode.